Welcome to Lineups and Lures. Join hosts Joe and Chris as they break down the biggest stories in professional and amateur sports and reel in the best fishing stories and tips. Whether it's game day strategy or the perfect catch, we've got you covered. Grab your gear and get ready. This is Lineups and Lures. It's NFL Draft Day, one of the most exciting days of the year for college players and NFL fanatics. So who's going to go number one overall?
Well, one overall is easy. It's who's going to go number two. And I think one of the big stories of the day is Cleveland's been taking a bunch of calls for that number two draft pick. And I wouldn't be surprised if somebody moves up either to take Travis Hunter or potentially Shedeur if they believe that he is the guy.
You taking Shedeur at the number 3 pick in the draft?
I'm not taking him in any pick in the draft, but I'm not the general manager of one of the NFL football teams out there.
Well, would you want to see the Seahawks trade up to take him?
No.
No.
I like Jackson Dart better.
Okay.
I think he would. I think he's a better football player. I think there's a lot less noise that comes along with him, and I just think Jackson Dart's a better football player. That's the reason.
So if somebody doesn't trade up for Sanders, where do you think he ends up? You think the Giants go for him, or are they looking more at like a defensive guy? Because there's some pretty good talent at the very, very top, but it's not a great draft, I don't think.
Well, so this is the draft that's been nicknamed the Screw It draft. And a lot of the GMs out there are kind of off the record, yet somewhat on the record, saying that from pick about 6 through about 25.
Flip a coin.
Sure. And that's where they're like, screw it. There's going to be guys trying to trade down. I don't think they're going to get a hell of a lot of value for doing so, just because I don't see a whole bunch of people looking to move up after those first 5 picks, maybe 6.
Yeah. So Tennessee, you got taking Cam Ward first overall. Do you think that means they're moving Levis?
I think they've got options. I mean, personally, if I'm the general manager and the head coach of an NFL football team and I draft a rookie, I'm not starting him for 2 years. So I would play Levis.
Well, that's if you want to have a successful quarterback in the future, that's the right model to do
right.
it. But when's the last time a team drafted an NFL quarterback in the first round and had him sit for 2 years, learn, watch, and then go and play without all the pressure to go in and play?
Well, arguably the best quarterback in football sat for a full season. Not 2, but he did sit for a full season behind a many-time Pro Bowl quarterback.
Yeah.
The best player in the game sat for 3 years. Well, used to be the best player in the game.
Let's go in the last 5 years.
Okay, so we got obviously, but if you look at the numbers, there's been bust after bust after bust.
Well, isn't that why? Because they throw him right into the fire.
Well, and I think I'm with you. Like I said, I'm 1,000% with you on this. The other thing is to look at is that if they would have sat, would they have then been successful? Look what Sam Darnold did last year in Minnesota. There was a guy that had bust labeled all over him, and he just got paid $100 million.
Yeah. Well, look at Geno Smith.
Geno Smith,
terrible,
another good
sits
example.
behind Russ for a couple years, learns the system, becomes a better quarterback, and now the guy's making $40 million a year. Like,
yeah,
it works.
So I think a lot of time there is this pressure of I spent a overall 1, 2, or 3 pick. I have to play this kid. GMs are probably a lot of them on the hot seat. If they're a bad franchise, that's why they got the first overall pick. And they are basically saying, this is my shot. And I'm going to go pick the guy, and I want to win now. Whereas I think if you look at the more successful franchises over the years that are very steady in the front office, that don't have a lot of change and turnover at either head coach or general manager, they're willing to go, you know what, this is not the year. Let's not overpay for something that isn't there. I mean, the Pittsburgh Steelers, the Green Bay Packers, the New England Patriots, I mean, they year after year after year. The Seattle Seahawks are very good at this. They do not overpay, and they don't press the panic button, and they know it's a long game, not a short game. So there you go.
Yeah. What do you think the Seahawks will do with their first-round pick?
I think John Schneider came out very clearly and said, I'm taking the best player available. I'm not drafting for need. I'm taking the best body I can get, which, we'll see. They're going to have 10 picks. Knowing Schneider, they'll probably end up with 12 to 13 because he's a wheeler and a dealer. And, So I think he's just going to take the best guy on the board who's available. Now, that said, I expect him to wheel and deal a little bit. And if there's somebody that, falls for whatever reason that they value higher than others, expect a move.
Yeah. Wouldn't it be a blast to be in an NFL draft room? Just to be a fly on the wall.
The whole week, because these guys they're going through every what if scenario in the world, right? It's all right, Cam's off the board, blah blah blah. Shit, what if someone pivots?
Yeah.
Now what?
Well, it's kind of like last year with the Falcons taking Penix. Like nobody expected him to go that early, and now all of a sudden that kind of threw the draft into disarray a little bit.
Quite frankly, I think it completely screwed the Seahawks. I think 1,000% Schneider thought Bo Nix was falling to our pick at 16.
Yeah.
And Penix was the one guy in front that wasn't meant to go. And he did. Atlanta had just went and spent $160 million on Kirk Cousins. They're not taking a quarterback. Yeah, they are. So, that is the fun part about draft day, the unexpected. There's already been some minor trades today, but let's see what happens.
Yeah, it should be interesting. One last thing on the draft.
Yeah.
So Travis Hunter, probably going to go 2 overall to the Browns. Is he a wide receiver or a cornerback, or do you think you see the next two-way guy in the NFL, at least for a small amount of time until he settles in?
So I think he'll be a corner straight away. I think, number one, he will be cornerback. I think learning an offense is a lot more difficult than learning a defense. The intricacies of the offense, the amount of plays, the pure horsepower that you have to just soak up and learn the playbook. I could see packages for him on offense. Maybe there's he comes out and runs in the slot and they have a specific package. I could see a jet sweep type package for him, something like that. So I think primarily he will initially focus on defense. And whether it's a package or, over the course of the season, as he learns more and more of the playbook, there may be plays that he gets in. It's just so tough to play two. It's even in high school, college to play two ways. But the NFL is just something else, man. And I just don't know how many plays he can make at that level.
Yeah, I mean, maybe he plays 75% of the snaps on defense and goes in for 25% on offense or something. But it'd be really interesting if Sanders ends up sliding into like the second round. Cleveland's picking, I think, right at the end of the first or beginning of the second.
Well, they'll have the second. They'll have the second round pick in the second round.
So you could be reuniting those two back together, and then maybe that changes his ability to play some offense just with the familiarity with his quarterback and. Because right now, I don't think Cleveland really has a quarterback healthy.
Joe Flacco.
Well, the guy's like 82 years old, so
love
he can still throw the football.
Yeah, he can. Yeah, no, the Cleveland's, they got to figure out the long-term deal. I don't know what the hell happened to Deshaun Watson. Maybe that year in Houston was just a fluke and he had a lot of talent around him. But anyway, he restructured his contract. They've got Flacco and Is Dorian Thompson-Robinson still on that team? I
think so.
Anyway, so we'll see.
It doesn't matter. That's not a playoff team.
With a quarterback, it could be. But, yeah, look, Shadua is weird. We're spending a lot of time talking to him about him, which, is exactly what he wants. But, look, someone might jump up and take him early if they fully believe he's the deal. Or I could see him going in the second round. He's an enigma this year.
Yeah, it's hard to say. I mean, the guy was good enough to get his number retired at Colorado after 2 seasons, so maybe he's the next big thing in the NFL. Well, I guess time will tell.
We'll know soon enough.
Hey there, I'm Chad with Jackson Painting and Remodel, and if you're looking to give your home a fresh new look, you've come to the right place. Whether you need a bold new color for your living room or a fresh coat to brighten up your home's exterior, my team and I have got you covered. We specialize in both indoor and outdoor painting, using only the best materials to make sure your space looks amazing and stands the test of time. If you're ready to transform your home, visit jacksonpainting.com. I'd love to come by, chat about your ideas, and give you a free estimate. At Jackson Painting and Remodel, we don't just paint, we make your vision a reality. Again, visit jacksonpainting.com or call 503-620-2600.
Mariners played pretty well in Boston this week, taking 2 out of 3, beating Crochet in the finale earlier today. Do you know that's the first time the Mariners have won a series in Boston in almost 10 years?
Well, doesn't surprise me.
Well, Boston hasn't exactly been a great team over the last 10 years, and the Mariners have been pretty good. But
well, the last 2 years we've been pretty good. Well, we can't hit, and that is an absolute bomber's ballpark.
Can't hit. We beat Crochet today.
Well, we haven't been hitting for the last 10 years. How about that?
There you go. Yeah, it was a pretty good game. I saw some highlights. The biggest thing is our bats are starting to show signs of life, and it is home runs. Unfortunately, we're scoring a lot of our runs on home runs, but they're 29 pitches in the first inning for Crochet today. It shows that we're starting to grind out at bats, and when you can have quote unquote professional at bats, like that gives you a chance to get into the bullpen, grind out. Pitchers start leaving pitches over the middle. That's a winning recipe right there.
So I think we talked about a few things at the beginning of the year, and I think we're starting to see some of our takes. Where we had a kind of, they could go one direction or the other, and we're seeing which direction is happening right now. First of all, I love the youth movement bringing Ben in at third base. I think that he has played some great defense as advertised, and he's been a little hotter with the stick than I think anybody was expecting. So
he's hitting 300.
That's what I'm getting at.
Got a home run, got an extra base hit. Like he's showing he's not overmatched at the major league level.
So that's awesome. I think it's always nice for a rookie to play on the road a little more than at home, because on the road no one knows who you are. You fly under the radar and you just do your thing. At home, everyone's going to be like, hey, that's the rookie at third base, and everyone's going to know who you are. Yeah. So that's been a huge positive. One of the things that I'm going to go back to, I know we spoke about before the year, Mitch Garver is starting to hit the baseball a little bit. This is allowing him to get into the lineup both as a catcher and a DH, and Cal has DH'd the last 2 nights, which has taken some pressure off of him. That was one of our keys at the beginning of the year. It was one of the veteran hitters going to stand up, or were we going to have to go and get Ford from AAA and take some pressure off of Cal behind the dish? So that's been great to see. Polanco's still swinging it wherever he's playing in the lineup. Who cares? Just get him in the lineup. First base, first base DH is still our problem. One of those spots.
Come on. Have you looked at the stats of Rowdy Tellez versus some of the free agent first basemen that were available last year, eliminating Alonso? Because he is off to an amazing start. Right. 350, 10 bombs. Like, he's killing it. But have you looked at Rowdy's stats compared to, say, Christian Walker, the guy we all wanted?
Well, no.
Rowdy Tellez has a higher batting average, more home runs. Like, he's actually hitting the baseball, and over the last week he's got 3 bombs. Like, is he starting to catch fire? Like, did that shot in the back really kind of kickstart his offense?
I think you got some wishful thinking going on here, fella. I still think we need to make a move, and whether that move is from AAA and Sean Locklear, or whether it's on the free agent market, we need a bat. And I'm not going to hang my hopes on the big fella Tellez. I'm not sold there yet.
I'm just saying it's not as bad as we think it is, as we perceive it to be. It's kind of like Julio's stats. Like, yeah, at the end of the season he has great stats, and his stuff in the early season is really bad, but it's called averages. And I think You're starting to see Rowdy's averages start to play out. He's starting to hit some home runs and starting to, you get that first one off your back, everything kind of loosens up a little bit. And I think you saw now I think he hit 4 in a week. So that's starting to kind of get the bat going at first, and that takes pressure off of, Solano, who I don't even think he's hitting 100. I know his OPS is on base percentage is terrible.
Yeah, it's brutal. I
mean, it's time to let that guy go.
Yeah.
And let's stay with Tellez and kind of see what happens. Maybe give him another 48, 50 at bats and see if he's, because he seems to be regressing to his average.
What I'd like to see is him be one of the guys off the bench, not plugged in as a starter every day. I'd like him to be the guy that's playing on the off day, not the everyday starter. And kind of by default, he's become the everyday starter at either first base or DH.
You don't have another first baseman, not only on the roster, in the organization. Locklear is the only other serviceable first baseman.
God, there's a good young kid that we just played 3 games against. Still want to make that move.
For Casas?
Yeah.
And how's the start of his season going?
He's not hitting that well either, but he also did hit a big 3-run homer against us the other day too. So
he did, but that's what I'm saying. Like, are you looking at different stats from all these different players? I mean, Casas is hitting $167.
I will bet you.
Rowdy Tellez has a higher batting average. He has more home runs. He has more RBIs.
I will bet you lunch that by the end of the year, the kid from Boston beats Rowdy in all of those categories. Average, home runs, and what was the other one? You said RBIs?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll take the kid from Boston.
Interesting bet. I'll take you up on that one.
Okay, lunch.
Yeah. I don't know. It's just he's not as bad as we think he is. He just got off to a really bad start.
All right, well, we'll see.
We don't have a choice.
Well,
There's nobody else out there. A Rizzo type of guy, he's looking for somebody to get injured on a
Contender.
World Series contending team.
Or
he just doesn't want to come.
No, there's one more guy out there. JD Martinez.
Yeah. But he's really more of a DH these days.
That's what we need. That's fine.
Yeah. I say we just keep sticking Polanco over there. Keep Demo at second. That seems to be working. JP's starting to swing the bat again. Mm-hmm. Williamson is proving defensively that he's really good. I mean, did you see that shot he fielded off of the bat of Vladdy? I mean, 120, hardest ball hit in the year.
Right.
And just snags it to the glove side, spins around, and throws a dart to first base. Like, that was a great play. So if he can anchor some defense over there, I think that's a good thing. And he's showing signs of the ability to hit at the major league level. So
he's in the lineup for the perceived future at this point. So he's our guy at third.
Yeah. What about the pitching staff? The pitching staff's got some worries. It's early, or bad starts are going to happen.
Okay, I think we as a collective, we as a fans of the Mariners, expect our guys to throw 7 shutout innings every day of the week.
Well, I think the offense expects that too.
They sure hit like it. But no, I think this is one of those things here where we actually look at it and go, the statistics are actually still pretty stinking good. And it's just that if we see Logan Gilbert give up a run, we're like, what the hell happened? Yeah. Like, the guy's going to give up a homer every once in a while. He's going to hang a changeup. It happens. Like, even the best do it.
I'm not worried about Logan Gilbert.
No, but we need Kirby to get back in there. Emerson Hancock finally had a decent start the other night. Woo's been a little bit up and down, so
not worried about those guys either.
Miller
and Castillo.
Yeah, Luis is a veteran. I figure he'll get it together. Miller is not a veteran that's done it for 10 years. So what's your take on Miller? What's he doing wrong right now?
It's just the walks. So I don't know if he's trying to overthrow, because I think his velocity is down just a little bit. So is he trying to overthrow? Does he know that his velo's down? So he's trying to be a little bit more fine with hitting corners and spots? Because, the dude's leading the team in walks. Like, that's not Bryce Miller. He's a strike thrower. And then the guy who's right behind him in walks is Luis Castillo, because he's doing the same thing. He's trying to get feels for his pitches and trying to get that changeup to come back. And, unfortunately, they seem to be missing it in the middle of the plate.
Yeah.
And that's not good at the major league level.
No, it tends to go about 400 feet behind you.
Yeah, they don't miss too many of those.
Not when they get paid $40 million to hit it too, no.
So that's more my concern, is that our walk numbers are up with those two, and they're expected to be our 2-3, 3-4.
And the middle of the bullpen is not good. We've had some games where guys have come in and got torched.
Yeah.
So,
well, we're still not striking. Our bullpen still doesn't strike guys out, so that makes it pretty challenging too.
I think the reality is that Castillo, I'm not concerned about. Veteran, he'll find it. And even if he's a good enough guy to go, if the changeup ain't working, I'm just not going to throw it, and I'll go with fastball, slider, and 12-6 curveball. Miller's got to get ahead of guys, get in front of guys. He's got 96, 97 mile an hour fastball. Just throw it down the pipe, and even the best guys in the league only hit it 28% of the time anymore. So I'd be starting off guys. Bullpen, I think we can fix. That's getting extra arms, especially come All-Star break, trade deadline, getting extra bullpen arms is never a problem. It's just a matter of what you got to give up to get it. So that can be fixed. But once again, I think we still need a middle-of-the-order bat. I think we're one middle-of-the-order bat away. And I'd like to see, I'm expecting Castillo to not be here at the All-Star break. That's my belief. I think that we move him as part of that bat solution. Yeah. So now you've got to look at Gilbert, Kirby, Wu, and Miller. And it looks like Hancock at this point would be the 5th starter, although you get into the playoffs, you only need 3 anyway. So I think we're in good shape there. If we can flip Castillo and maybe in whatever else required for the bat situation, And that could be in a number of positions. Right field is still available. Second base is available. First base, DH, available right now. Williamson's done great at third, but it's only been a couple of weeks, so let's not get the heavy Sharpie out just yet. But yeah, that's where I think we're at. The relief bat, we're sitting around 500. We've already had to deal with a couple of injuries, so hopefully we're done with that nonsense for the years. Here we go.
Step up your game at Portland Baseball Club. Whether you're a beginner looking to learn the fundamentals or an experienced player ready to take your skills to the next level, our expert coaches are here to help you succeed. Our training programs focus on developing key skills such as hitting, pitching, fielding, and game strategy through personalized instruction and hands-on drills. Join us for specialized clinics, one-on-one coaching, group training sessions, and year-round tournament teams tailored to all skills and age levels. With state-of-the-art facilities and a supportive environment, you'll gain the confidence and expertise to excel on the field. Don't miss your chance to become a part of Portland's premier baseball community and elevate your game today. Learn more at portlandbaseballclub.com and see how we inform, instruct, and inspire the next generation of athletes. Civil War weekend coming up down in Eugene with a encore game on Tuesday in Corvallis. So
Yep.
Looking forward to this series. This should be a fun 3-game set.
This is what we've been waiting for all season. This is the test.
And the weather's playing out right. It's going to be nice and sunny, which I think is going to be interesting because that Oregon Duck team can drive the ball out of the yard a little bit more than the Beavers do. So it's going to be that Beavers pitching versus that Ducks hitting, I think, is going to be the storyline this weekend because the Ducks hit a lot of home runs.
Yeah, and especially in that ballpark, the weather, like as you've alluded to, is warming up a little bit. We could be in the 60s. We might even touch a hockey stick at the front this weekend. So their offense will come alive. We're going to give up a few runs, and we're going to have to hit it a little bit as well. We just spent time looking at the prospective statistics from both teams on both the offense and the defense, and you could probably throw a napkin over pretty much both teams. It's crazy how closely matched they are.
That's great. That's what we want to see.
Yeah.
And isn't that amazing that how closely matched their stats are? Their records are similar.
Mm-hmm.
Beavs definitely have a better record. But that's the difference between a number 3 team and a number 16 team. They're kind of more in that late teens right now. So it's kind of wild how it's, stats don't tell the whole story. You got to win baseball games. And unfortunately, Oregon just dropped a midweek to University of Portland, which, that's a very tough midweek team. They went down, took 2 out of 3 from UCLA, which was a big series for them. But that's a good Ducks team. And if that offense is clicking on all cylinders, if the Beavs can't keep them in the yard, it's going to be an interesting weekend.
Yeah, and I'm going to try not to be a homer right now, and I'm actually going to stick up a little bit for the Ducks. Is their record a little bit of a product of the teams that they are playing as opposed to the Beavs basically playing the UC schools?
Are you trying to say that the Big Ten conference schedule is worse than the Beavers' independent schedule?
No, I was saying it's a tougher schedule.
It's better? Is it?
Well, UCLA is pretty good.
Okay, there's one.
Everybody in that conference is a major conference team. We
I mean, okay, so looking at these standings, so you got Iowa's at the top, UCLA, second, Oregon, USC, Washington. Man, just think if the Pac-12 was still around. There's 4 teams at the top of the Big Ten that would all be great.
Yes.
Looking forward to a Pac-12 championship tournament right now.
Yeah, and then throw the Beavs in there. I mean,
jeez. Then you got Indiana, Penn State, Illinois. Those teams are all over 500. And then you definitely have a bottom half. Ohio State's got 2 conference wins. Maryland's got 5. Purdue 6. Rutgers, Nebraska, Minnesota 7.
Look, those northern schools up there in the middle of the country, you're not expecting them to be baseball powerhouses. But I'm talking about USC. I'm talking about Washington. I'm talking about UCLA. I mean, these are not just good programs, great programs over the history and
historical program.
Yeah,
not necessarily great. USC has not been great recently. They went through a pretty good downturn there.
Right.
I think the new facilities is helping them. They're getting
Sure.
a whole new complex. But yeah, historically, those are good teams. Iowa's a good team.
Right.
Historically. So yeah, you're right.
So, I mean, you think about how many times the Beavs have squeaked one out and, especially in some of those midweek games, they've been able to squeak a couple out. So, look, you still have to win the games, and that's a great testament. Maybe there's an argument to be made that that's, Beaver baseball, that's just the culture of that program, and they find a way to win a game. So maybe there's an argument to be had as well. But, no, I think this is an extremely even matchup, and looking forward to 4 great games of baseball.
Yeah, it's going to be fun. And those were 2 pretty good games for the Beavs this week against Gonzaga. That Gonzaga team battled and battled. Definitely the depth. You can see the difference in the quality of depth when you got towards the end there. The Beavs started pulling away late in games. But that was a pretty good home series there. A little quick 2-gamer, especially coming off of Northridge, where kind of same deal. Like, you see the Beavs, they're 34 deep. A team like Northridge is probably 20, 22 deep. So you just kind of see them pull away there at the end. But it was good games, and, they had to kind of fight from behind a little bit. So that's good to see.
Yeah, and I think Northridge gave us a little more of a fight than I think we were either A, hoping or B, expecting, or maybe a combination of the both a little bit. So it was really a slugfest down there, and none of the pitchers really showed up this weekend. I mean, I think all the games were in the teens as far as runs scored. So, but then again, they came out and played great defense this weekend, or this Monday, Tuesday, I should say, down at back in Goss, and they're looking good, man. Timely hitting, those guys in the meat of the order are doing exactly what they should do. We talked about this earlier, but there's been a couple of guys step up that probably weren't expected to be in the everyday lineups, and 2 or 3 of those guys are getting rotated through on a regular basis. So that's good for the program. And the only other nice thing would be if we could get our bullpen a little healthier, because we got a couple arms that are on the shelf right now that we're going to need here in a month.
Yeah, so speaking of bullpens, I got a question for you.
Okay.
I'm thinking about a rule change. And so as I'm watching the game Monday night, watching that go 9 innings, 10 innings, 11 innings, 12 innings, is it time for the NCAA to adapt the MLB runner on second rule? And the reason I say that is because at the MLB level, they go a 12-inning game. They're allowed to make a call-up for another pitcher the next day in that series because you had an extra inning game or you have a doubleheader. It doesn't stress your bullpen as much.
Right.
Is there a discussion here for maybe implementing that rule at the college level, because you don't have a AAA team to go pull guys from. You don't have that 35th, 36th man that you can pull up. So if you go 12 innings on Monday, especially after coming off 3 games over the weekend, now you got to play another one Tuesday. Like, that's really taxing on those arms. So what do you think? Like, just throwing this out. This is a discussion.
Yeah, no, you caught me on this one. I wasn't expecting this question. Okay, first of all, I'll preface with I'm not a fan of the Major League system. Just want to throw that out there for context.
Even in the regular season?
No.
You don't like it?
No, I just don't
like it. You want
it.
to see 17-inning games?
It doesn't happen that often.
It does, because you get to extra innings, and all everybody wants to do is hit a walk-off home run. So I think this runner on second actually makes extra innings interesting instead of just watching 300-foot fly ball after 300-foot fly ball.
And you know what? If that's what happens once in a while, that's what happens once in a while. I'm a traditionalist. I'd like to see the pitcher hitting, and we can keep going down this memory lane if you'd like. But let's keep it here on planet Earth. And look, I don't like it. I don't like the system. I think they should play baseball. Your point with arms is something that is valid and fair. I think ultimately it is the responsibility of the manager. And look, at Division I levels, those rosters are deep enough where you've just got to make a ball club decision every once in a while that, okay, maybe the shortstop's coming in and throwing 2 innings because he's all I got tonight. And
that doesn't happen at the high Division I level.
Well, they don't need to. They're deep enough.
Yeah, but you're not going to see that in extra inning, back-to-back games type of deal. You're not going to see a shortstop that doesn't pitch come in and pitch.
Well, yeah,
Arquette is not coming into a game to pitch.
No, my point is that they don't need to. There's enough arms in that bench. I mean, even through the 5 games that Oregon State played in 6 days, there were still arms that were eligible to throw that did not get in the game. I guess at that point, there is no more conversation. If they've still got guys in the cupboard, now it's not their number 1 and 2, it's their 8, 9, and 10, but that's what happens.
So what would you think about maybe making this only a midweek rule? So weekends, it's, in a league series, conference series. Now you still got to play it out, full extra innings, but to help conserve and protect arms during the midweeks, now you go with the extra innings rule.
I think we are spending way too much time on something that happens so infrequently. How many extra innings games have the Beavs played this year? That might have been their first one.
I think that was their first one.
So my point is that I think sometimes you've just got to find a way to get it done. And the reality is not very often are you going to play 5 games in 6 days either. Typically, and I know with our schedule it's weird this year.
No, all the time though. You look at a traditional Beaver.
4. You'd play the weekend set, and then you'd typically have one on a Tuesday or a Wednesday.
Yes.
And so there's an extra game not there.
Yeah.
And that was consistent because, basically in the old Pac-12 system, we'd play UP 3 or 4 times over the course of the year. We'd pick up a non-league game with Oregon here or there, and then we'd go find a couple of teams that either played Oregon and then we caught them on the Tuesday, or if we were down in Arizona, we'd play Arizona State and then go play Grand Canyon on the Monday, and that's how we picked up those extra 8 to 10 games.
Yeah.
So that is the more traditional. We're trying to pick up teams, that either had an off weekend on bye, or like I said, a Big Ten team came down and played the Ducks. Okay, we want to catch you on a Tuesday for a friendly while you're in town, and that's been a problem with this independent schedule. So, yeah.
But I got to say, our RPI is still doing pretty well considering we're doing something that Are there any other independent college baseball teams out there?
Is Notre Dame independent for baseball or just for football?
I think it's just for football.
So, yeah, I think the only one that matters anyway, of all the major programs. And the fact that we've done this with, 68% of the games on the road?
Yeah.
So, no, there's a lot of good things going on there. I don't think we need to mess with the extra innings rules. I just don't think it happens enough to have a big debate.
Got to get out and do some spring chinook fishing over the last 2 weeks.
Yeah, I heard were you on the Multnomah Channel or you out in Columbia?
A little bit of both, kind of right at the mouth of the channel one day, and then later on in the week, fished just a little bit more down into the Willamette.
And?
0 for 1 in 2 boat trips. So
wow, boat rides, huh?
Yeah.
Well, what would Mr. Jackson like us to say right now?
Well, that'd be a goose egg.
That'd be a goose egg. Okay. All right, there you go, Chad. That one was for you.
Unfortunately, it was not my rod that got bit. I was able to reel up everybody else's rod or all the rest of the rods and watch the guy who didn't know what he was doing try to fight a fish. And, you got to keep the tension on it. The barbless hooks, those things are going to pop off. And, we got it right to the boat. Went to go net it. Fish took off running. The rod went running with him. Gone.
No more dinner at that point, huh?
No more, $500 fish right there?
Well, I don't know about $500 fish, but...
Have you looked at spring chinook in a grocery store?
No, I still got plenty of fall chinook in the freezer I haven't eaten yet.
Fall's not spring. That is the best fish.
What are they, $40 a pound?
Yeah, you're looking a good $40 a pound.
My goodness. That's just ridiculous. Okay, so you get a, 12, 15 pound chinook, which is pretty... and then, a third of that's unedible, but yeah, you're still looking at 10 pounds. That's a $400 fish.
$400 fish.
Okay.
So it was good. It was beautiful days, like nice and sunny. Definitely a lot of people out fishing.
Yeah.
The water temp was still in the 52, kind of warming up to 53 by midday when we were getting off the water. Marking some fish, but definitely not as many as you'd hope to. And even the dam counts were pretty low. At that time, there was a little bit of a spike, but man, it's like they know when to close the river. Like, oh, we're about to get a spike in fish, we're going to close the river off. So everyone gets real excited that, oh, we saw 400 fish come over today instead of 100. Let's go fishing. Oh, wait, it's closed. Can't fish.
Either that or they just dump Bonneville on us again.
True. I bet the weather's been great. I mean, we haven't really had any rain, so.
Yeah, we had a very challenging late winter into early spring, and I think we're finally getting some decent weather in the valley here where we can get out and do some stuff. So, yeah, no, I missed our day because of Bonneville, so I'm jealous that you got to get out, but it seems like everything's just a little late this year. Like
this year?
Yeah.
It's a trend.
Yeah.
You start looking at like the 10-year trend graphs. Steelhead are getting later, chinook are getting later, the coho are getting later. Mm-hmm. But the fishery departments don't seem to understand that. So they keep setting these early fisheries and they're like, yeah, we're going to give you a week. And then all of a sudden, nobody's catching any fish. Well, if you look at the graph, it's the next week when it's closed. So what are we doing?
Well, there's one of two ways to think about this. They're either geniuses or they're government employees and they're too lazy to change anything. Oh, that's just the way we've done it for 40 years and we ain't going to change it. While the guy's spitting his tobacco and drinking his coffee. So I tend to think it's a little more of option B. But, hey, man.
Hey, if you want us to keep buying fishing licenses, you got to give us, one, an opportunity to go fish.
Yeah.
And two, you got to improve the hatchery program so that there are more fish to being caught. Because I can tell you on the 2 days I was out, we were 0 for 1, and the sea lions, were 3 for 3.
Well, that's a whole different conversation on the sea lions. I don't know how we deal with that problem. I would like to see them not there, and I don't know how to get rid of them.
Non-lethally, I'm not sure there really is a good way because it used to be them just swimming up and at certain times of year taking fish and they'd be back down to California.
Right.
Just like everybody else. They come up to Oregon, they hang out, they ruin it, and then they go back. Well, these seals are now becoming residents. Well, so now you're getting residents in the Clackamas, residents in the Sandy, residents in Multnomah. I mean, there was like 5 of them just sitting on a dock. And let me tell you, those are big animals.
Yeah.
They've been eating very well. And, they took 2 salmon that we saw. One literally tipped it tail up and just down the hatch it went.
Yeah.
And then the other one was a giant oversized sturgeon. So probably at least a 5-6 footer, just thrashing that thing around. They're eating better than we are.
Yeah, that might have to be a topic we talk about one afternoon. We won't do that today, but the sea lions are an issue and we got to fix that. So on a slightly different note, I hear you've started a little venture here. Maybe manufacturing the new Fisk fishing rod.
Yes. Fisk rods is up and running.
Okay.
So we're slowly kind of creeping into the point where we're starting to build some rods. Was actually working this morning on building my first rod. It's kind of a test rod prototype, as they say.
Prototype. Fancy.
So start getting some stuff out there, start testing some blanks and reel seats and handles and kind of seeing how we end up wanting everything to finish. But it's been an interesting process. It's fun. There's a lot to building a rod.
I can imagine.
It's not one of those where it's just, like a Lego set, you just click it all together. It's glues and epoxies and
labor intensive
cutting stuff and drilling stuff out. There's a lot to it. So it's, you kind of get a newfound respect when you learn something new.
Right.
So learning how to build a rod is definitely humbling. And, I was wrapping some eyes today and, I think I wrapped one like 5 times before I got it to a point that I thought was good. And Jay, who's graciously helping train us, looked at that and said, well, that's a good beginner attempt, but you can't sell that. I'm like, all right, I'll keep practicing.
Well, I mean, that's to be expected. I think with any skill or anything you try to start, I mean, it doesn't happen on the first time. And the more you do it, the better you get at it, the more efficient you get at it. And before you know it, you can do it with your eyes closed. But
yeah, let's just say that today, Jay, who owned Raptor Rods previously, who's training us, he put together an entire rod wrapped. I think there was like 12 eyelets on there. He did all of that before I got my entire handle and reel seat on. So
yeah.
He's pretty good. We'll get there.
It
takes time, but yeah, exciting to start getting some rods out there. Actually, starting with a bass rod, since it's getting to be bass season, and then we'll start really hammering in on some trolling rods and getting ready for buoy 10, as well as the trout kokanee season's coming up. So, just kind of learning the process right now, getting a feel for it, and be able to build a really high quality rod with quality components. So
I hear the commute out to the manufacturing facility can be a bit of a problem.
It's a beautiful drive. Yeah. And if I was a wine drinker, I'd drive by like 12 wineries. So it's a nice drive, and there's really no traffic out in that Yamhill Carlton area, so it's kind of nice.
Yeah.
Enjoyed Lineups and Lures? Like, share, and rate the show to help us grow. Don't forget to subscribe so you never miss an episode. Thanks for listening, and catch you next time on Lineups and Lures.